Morning. This is a response to a user called Wisdominnature7 and a video called I Don't Like Antinatalism, Can You Tell? And the first thing I'd say is I would absolutely agree that the points you make about how antinatalist arguments are not only not supported but are actually contaminated when such arguments are made alongside emotional readouts of the person making the argument. It's irrelevant whether the person making the argument is depressed or not, and sometimes it's hard to tell. Certainly in some antinatalist oriented videos it's hard to tell whether the person is giving an accurate readout. Well, there's just too much slippage between what they see as an accurate readout of the state of humanity, the state of life itself, and their own internal state, and that's a problem. There are exceptions. I mean, the usual Benatar text is one that's cited here. He seems to be quite a happy person, and so his argument, I don't think it's a very strong argument, but his argument at least isn't blurred and made difficult by the fact of his own expressions of depression, which he doesn't have. So yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, the points about antinatalism I think are more interesting is to do with responsibility for progeny, which is not something you talk about. They kind of hint in that direction, and that's the bit of the argument that I'm finding most interesting and trying to get some purchase on, really. The fact that, when you have a child, even if you can guarantee with almost 100% certainty that they are going to have a perfectly fine time, they'll never suffer from depression, maybe we'll even bring some good into the world, whatever that might be. Maybe they will become the next Leonardo or the next Einstein. Even if you can almost guarantee that, does that make it okay? That's always the question. And the analogies for me are always to do with artificial life or to do with animals. I mean, I've got a dog. I think you've got a dog as well, actually. And I got it from a pound. She'd been abandoned. But I know a lot of people don't. They buy dogs from puppy farms, and that always seems a little bit weird to me. Because even if your dog has a perfectly fine time, and exits this world at the end of a cheerful life, running on beaches and chasing rabbits, even if it exits that life in the most painless way possible, it's a bit odd, isn't it? Because you've gone to effectively a farm in which dogs are being bred specifically for the purpose of you to be able to take one home and spend 12 years with it, and then take it to the vet and get a lethal injection. There's something odd about that. You know what I mean? There is something really odd about that. And I wouldn't do that. I mean, as I say, I got mine was a pound pup. And then there's the artificial life thing. Would I create a life form in the computer which was capable, which was capable of feeling and having sentience, even if I could almost guarantee that feeling and that sentience was relentlessly positive throughout however many years it occupied the silicon space inside my laptop? Would I do that? It seems odd to bring a life, something that is sentient, as sentient as I am, into the world purely because I can. Do you know what I mean? Purely because I can. And the third kind of thought experiment is bringing a fully fledged human into the world. This is a discussion I had a couple of months ago. You know what I mean? A lot of the pleasures of bringing children into the world, and just the satisfactions associated with it. And I've done it 3 times now. Is the raising of that child, and it does give you undoubtedly a sense of personal satisfaction. But again, I wouldn't want to bring personal satisfaction into this. But for the same reason, you wouldn't want to bring depression or negative sentiment into an argument. A lot of the arguments against antinatalism do seem coloured with the positive sentiments associated with child rearing and associated with being a child and being a grown-up. So I think you have to eradicate those from both sides. But certainly bringing a child into the world and raising it to an adult has a lot of satisfactions and pleasures associated with the child rearing. And I wonder, as a kind of third thought experiment, what it's like to imagine just bringing an adult into the world. You can press a button, or you can go through some very simple procedure of cloning or something, and a fully fledged adult emerges in the world somewhere with, again, possibly a good life, but always the possibility of something else happening. And again, even if you can guarantee with almost 100% certainty that that life will not be unpleasant in any way, it seems a little bit odd to do that. So yes, interesting video, and I think the separation of the message from the messenger is important, but on both sides, not just because antinatalists tend to be depressed people. I don't know if they are or not, but I know what you mean. On YouTube there are some people who seem to be accompanying all argumentation with complaint, but it has to go on the other side. You know, there is a lot of life is sweet, let's keep bringing people into it, and that's just contaminated an argument as well, isn't it? So I would try to find ways of avoiding both those by producing thought experiments like the ones I've suggested: raising an animal from a puppy farm, raising artificial intelligent life form, bringing an adult into the world without bypassing the pleasures of child rearing, as kind of ways of avoiding sentiment on either side. Anyway, thank you for that. Didn't you used to have a different channel? You look very familiar.